everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the BH Sales Kennel Kelp Holistic Healing Hour. Some of you by our invitation where applicable. My two church mice, Peter and Paul, forever and ever, each and every day. Ubiquitous audience, growing audience, however you got here, please continue to do so. We are growing exponentially with your help by you continuing to pay it forward where and when you are doing it, and you are doing that. We're growing exponentially. We appreciate that. One star seed at a time accomplishes a whole lot. Our networks, yours, mine, and ours, much like Tim Doyle, multi-time guest. Last year, I think it might have been a couple, 3 times in the calendar year. And all humor aside, we just chuckled about that a little bit. We've actually got, I think, 4 to 5 shows under our belt this year, believe it or not. And we've had, oh my goodness, I don't know, maybe 6 to 7 attempts for a whole plethora of reasons, none of them serious or nefarious. And Tim is going to introduce us to maybe what's going on in the real world, and that we kid the gods a little bit. And Tim does have a subject that is actually going to be kind of a surprise to all of us. And I love that because it's freelancing. It's a discussion with a good friend. It's a discussion with a good friend. Speaking of that, Tim Doyle, please do check out The Path to Oneness for those of you, wherever you're coming in archivally. Hopefully you've heard all those shows and had a good chuckle with us. We appreciate that with events that are sometimes out of our control. So without further ado, here's my good friend, Tim Doyle from China. Welcome, Tim. How you doing, buddy, this morning? Well, evening for yourself.
Bill, thank you for the invitation. I'm always pleased to be here to share things, the teachings of the Golden Ones with the audience and with your audience and my audience. Last night, I was given a topic to talk about, and the topic is, you are not your body. You are not your body. And what this starts is, we'll go back to the beginning, where when we're created in the image and likeness of God, we're created, God's characteristics are embedded in the soul's light body, but they're in their raw form. And so what the soul has to do is incarnate into a physical body so that he can experience these God characteristics in their raw form and learn how to discipline them and master them. And so in each carnation, the soul is learning wisdom through disciplining and mastering their emotions. I won't say his, that could be hers, and so forth. But at the end of each carnation, the wisdom, as well as all the fears and abusiveness that the soul has created, goes back into the light body. And then on the next incarnation, the new evolved light body goes into another new physical body. And it continues. And this continues through the many stages that the soul has to evolve into. The first stage is the ego stage, where it's just, the soul is just selfish in all its actions. And then the next stage is the spiritual stage, where the soul is just passed through the ego stage and he's starting to learn about meditation and angels and tarot cards and chakra and so forth. And then the third stage is the co-creator God stage. And that is where the soul attempts to be conscious in every moment of their thoughts to ensure that their thoughts and feelings are aligned with the universal laws of cause and effect and the universal laws of creation. Now, after each carnation, the soul's physical body is upgraded into the soul's light body. So eventually, Bill, when the soul gets to the point where they are completely in the God consciousness realm of being aware of their thoughts, being loving in every moment, and so forth, the light body becomes the physical body. The physical body and the light body are one. And then this is when the soul can achieve ascension. They can just go to the next level because they have mastered, the soul has mastered all the God characteristics, which are emotions, and the soul has transform those emotions into God feelings. There's a difference between emotions and feelings. Emotions are energy and motions that control the body, and feelings are God feelings that the soul, they control those feelings. They have mastered the emotions, and they are now feelings. And there's a process that goes through, and we can discuss this another day, how it goes from the solar plexus, third chakra, and it travels to the brain, and it becomes a feeling at that point in time. But what the soul has to understand is during their life experiences, the body's hungry, the body wants this, the body wants that, and the soul believes this is them. It's almost like they do not separate themselves, their higher self, from the physical body. And so they think they're the body. So if the body wants a beer, the soul says, oh, I want a beer. I want some drugs. The soul gives into the, I won't say demands, but it basically gives into what the body wants. It believes that it's them. The soul believes that the body is them, and so they gives the body whatever they think the body is telling them they want. And what the soul has to do is discipline those cravings that they want, maybe pizza, or they want ice cream and so forth. The soul has to make that conscious decision saying, treat the body like a little child, saying, no, you're not going to get this. It's not good for our soul development. And treat it like that. Now, similarly, it's like a horse trainer with a wild horse. The horse trainer goes through the same process. He's got a wild horse, and he has to teach the horse to discipline and master their wildness. And once the horseman has done that, then the horseman and the horse can work as a team to go where they need to go. And that's the same principle with the soul and the physical body, that the soul has to discipline it and master it so that the soul and the body can go where they need to go to serve the universe.
So, in that regard, with me being a little comedic entry or an attempt at it, tell the folks that might not, or even the folks that are well versed in the membership program, and we're going to get to the membership program, by the way, too, before the end. I want to revisit everybody's degree of familiarity, where you are listening in or where you're not, perhaps, at this juncture. So maybe for that segment of the audience kidding around, can you elucidate on, in your analogy of the horse, I love the wild Mustang, if you will, what would be pulling the bit in our mouths when we're still in the subconscious of wallowing around with your examples, be it drugs or bad eating habits or a combination of the two? If my question is making
No, I understand, Bill. The bit is that the soul has to be aware what's going on in that moment. And he has to separate.
That's the optimum word that I was so glad you interjected. I wanted to hear you say that for everyone's sake.
Yeah, the soul has to be aware that they are in charge of the body and they need to discipline it. And it's difficult sometimes, Bill, for the soul to do this. But if the soul knows that their purpose is to master these raw emotions, then they know that I'm in charge. It's almost like a parent and a child. The parent doesn't allow the child to rule the home. The parent puts in the discipline, and that's what has to happen. And once the soul, just like the horse, once the soul is conscious in every moment when these cravings come or these undesirable aspects come, the soul just has to stand firm and say, no, we are not going to do this. I am in charge. I am. And once he does it, the body will surrender. The body will say, you're right, and so forth.
Do you think the world arena, as we speak, probably overstating the obvious, is that why it may be more challenging for people to come in to that acceptance now more so than decades past? Or we've always had that by being part of the human equation? That's our natural reaction, maybe off the cuff.
Well, Bill, when the soul is created, it's embedded in the soul what their mission is, what their purpose is. When they hear it, and they're hearing it now, that they are not their body, that they have the power to master their emotions, then it's a truth to the soul. Once the soul hears the truth and it resonates within them, then it wakes the soul up to say, that's true, that's right, I need to do this. And the soul will take action.
It's proverbially and literally turning on the proverbial light switch.
Exactly.
Light switch.
Exactly. That's why this message last night was given to me. The time is now. Bill, we're in the golden age now. We're in the age where souls do not have to experience the birth, death, rebirth cycle if they become consciously aware in every moment to be loving and compassionate and be aligned with the universal law of cause and effect and the universal law of creation, which is being in harmony, balance, order, and unity for the good of all in all moments. And that's what we're striving for in every moment.
Tim, would it be too premature here at this juncture of this interview between you and I to maybe revisit the Ascension program for everybody's breadth of knowledge, wherever their degree of familiarity is? Because I think that's a great one to revisit into your, if you're comfortable and the gods are saying that's okay. I'm having so much fun with this because I'm really interested to hear what you got for this message that you're trying to tell us here today. So if you feel that's a good time to revisit the Ascension, please do. Please do.
Well, Bill, when that Ascension program was written, oh my God, 3 years ago.
A long time ago.
Long time ago. And what happens, there's 4 major ingredients in that Ascension program. The soul learns to remove all fears from their light body, all fears and unhealthy feelings, remove those. They learn how to protect themselves from negative energies. They learn how to be conscious of to keep the physical body healed. And to be honest with you, Bill, I forget the 4th one. I know there's 4 phases to it.
Well, because my memory, we'll get to the 4th one, but because my memory, you hit on something else I've been talking about recently, and you kind of already said it, maybe unbeknownst to a portion of our audience. I told them via my blogs and my Prelude shows, readers and or listeners, wherever, appropriate and had the time to read and or hear those Prelude shows yet, that I would definitely get you to do the parasite prayer, whether it's right now, but I think you kind of, skirted, and then the prayer of protection. And then maybe the 4th one will come to both of us about, because I got that batting around in my head as well. So if you want to talk about the parasite prayer and the prayer of protection, or save that closer to the end of this, if you thought it carried a little bit more thunder to wherever you're going.
Let's do the parasite prayer now, okay?
Love it. Please do.
And I'll tell you a story that...
Please do. I love your stories.
My brother has I got notified by my brother that he has a problem with his back. And so the golden ones wanted me to touch base with him. And I asked him, I says, what's the problem? He says, I've got this pain in my back. And now, when we have a dis-ease in the body, it means that the energy doesn't flow through the body, so there's a blockage there. And if you have a feeling of something, the back represents support, where you support yourself. And if you have a pain there, it's someplace in your consciousness you're not supporting yourself. So I asked my brother, I don't want to mention his name, and I says, do you have any thoughts of not being successful, or that you're not good enough, or that you can't do something because of your training or education? He says, right on. He says, exactly. I've had this for a long time. And so I shared the prayer with him. And he said, that's too easy. He says, I've had this problem for a long time, and it's too easy just to say this prayer and it'll be gone. Well, Bill, I've done this prayer for 10 years all over the world, and people can't believe that it's gone that fast. And I told my brother, I says, it's like taking a picture on your cell phone. You don't like the picture, so you delete it and it's gone. He says, oh, that sounds too simple. Now, I don't know if you ever did the prayer or not, all right? But
okay,
we'll explain what happens. So let's say we'll take an example that you're afraid of the dark, or you're afraid of the boogeyman. So when you're little and you're a rough little boy and your parents want you to go to bed and you're acting up, they'll say, get in bed. And if you get out of your bed, there's a monster under your bed and he's going to get you. So you better stay in the bed, or else there's a monster in the closet and he'll come out and get you if you get out of bed.
You don't want to see him.
So the child has this fear. Now, the fear can be afraid of monsters, of snakes, of heights, any fear or unhealthy feeling. Even if you were abused by, let's say, a person where you were almost raped, and it runs through your mind, and you have this feeling of any unhealthy feeling or thoughts about yourself, or thoughts you have towards another person. They're in your subconscious, in your solar plexus, third chakra. Excuse me. And so to get rid of this, very simple. You put your left hand.
I'm actually gonna do it. So go
ahead. Left hand on your solar plexus above the navel. Right hand on your heart. Yeah. Right hand on your heart. Now, the thing is that the conscious mind can only hold one thought at a time. And so you have hundreds and maybe thousands of these feelings in your subconscious mind. So you have to bring the feeling into your conscious mind to get rid of it. So what you do, let's say I'm afraid of a monster. So what I do is bring the fear of a monster into my mind. And so I says, okay, I'm afraid there's a monster under my bed. I want to get rid of this feeling. And so once I activate the feeling in my mind, I say these words. This feeling is not mine. This feeling does not belong to me. I release this feeling in love now and forever. Amen. Amen. Now, Bill, immediately that fear or unhealthy feeling is gone. But let me tell you something. These are parasites. Fears are parasites. And so I have had people say, oh, fears are good for you, and I don't need to do that. I'm only afraid of monsters. Maybe when I go up to the cabin. The parasite, it's conscious orgasms that will work into the thinking of the soul. So it's like the soul thinks these are his thoughts, when really they're the thoughts of the parasite. So you've got to, any doubt whether it's going to work or not, you have to push through that and do it. And don't let your stinking thinking, stop you from saying this prayer. Because what it is the
I'm sorry, Tom. Real quickly, for my workouts for geriatrics folks that might be listening, we talk about that all the time, the breathing, the heart. We actually do the serenity prayer for a different reasons a little bit, but the same positions of the hands. But we talked about the parasite prayer, and really try it. You'll like it. Really, seriously, I've been trying to do it more intensely since I've been blessed to be a member of the program myself at the Path to Oneness. And I'm about 60-ish days in, mid-February was where I started to come into the formal program, and I've been doing it every single day. And those of you that join the shows know I do these things 3 times a day, and all by choice in retirement. It's got nothing to do with that. And for as many of these as I've done, I don't have a fear of it or whatever, but you wouldn't be human if you didn't get little pregame jitters or whatever. So mine's more like that. But listen, parasites, when we talk about the animals and all of that, a parasite's a parasite. In every definition of the word. So maybe if you even think of it another way, if you're not familiar right here and now, it's like a black fly or a minge when you're on a fishing trip. To some degree, it's breaking your timing, it's breaking your balance. It's my convoluted examples, but sometimes, depending on your degree of familiarity of where you are with all of this, if you put it into day-to-day things that we encounter, sometimes it brings it into focus a little better. So I got kind of off the rail there a little bit, Tim. So pick us back up and put us on. But the prayer itself works, is what I'm going to. And it is so simple in the fact that it's not a whole lot of words, but they're powerful. That's all you need to say. It's so brilliant. It's so brilliant.
Yeah, Bill, why they're parasites is because the conscious mind can only hold one thought at a time. So you cannot be thinking about your dreams and desires if you're thinking about, I can't get a job, I'm not smart enough, I'm not intelligent enough. If you got those thoughts running through your mind, then you can't be thinking about, oh, I'm dreaming about this house, I'm visualizing it. Your visualizations for your dreams and desires are not happening because your focus is on what you can't be doing instead of what you can be doing. So
it's the combination of what I kid around with, again, for a visual, the old Al Franken, Stuart Smalley routine, not in the comedic sense, but really seriously, if you envision and remember him, I'm not good enough and all of that, which was kind of funny. But the point is he definitely, he definitely has some stuff going on. That was in a comedic sense. But if you think about that, it's kind of like a far stretch on a Stuart Smalley type of approach. But if you get into that, like Tim said, it's not only, okay, if your aspiration is to be real successful in your career, if that's what you're being derailed for all of the other reasons, sometimes you can't even think about, or shouldn't, in my humble opinion, whatever time of the day you do this, the beginning, multiple times during the day, there's no law against how many times you say this. If you feel as though you need it throughout the day, I say it many times. My point on that is, at that point in time, you really can't be thinking about, well, I'm going to be playing tennis at 3:00 and I got to make sure the traffic on Murphy Street, might be congested. You're not thinking about what it is that you're getting in that vortex. You have to isolate and give it the devotion to the prayer and the methodology to get in the habit. It's so easy, kind of sort of like the Wizard of Oz, Surrender Dorothy up in the sky, when you just do it and it becomes another habit, but a really constructive, good habit.
Well, Bill, when the prayer was first given to me, 12 years ago, I would use the prayer every time I had a negative feeling or a thought. I would use the prayer. So my first year, I probably did it maybe 10 times, 20 times a week. Now I may do the prayer, I don't know, once every 6 months or something like that. When something comes up where I experience something and it's like, why is this bothering me? And then I say the prayer. So I try to keep my light body, my thoughts and my feelings free so that I can be concentrating on what it is I want to manifest. All right.
Absolutely.
So that's the key. That's the key
It is the key.
for the
It
prayer.
is. Get rid of the baggage.
Yeah.
However you need to get there to do it. And it's a process. I mean, it's a process, especially when we've been conditioned in a whole multitude of arenas for decades. And not to get into religion or advertising or marketing but all of those categories way back in this thing, it's subconscious in our mind. Tim and I have talked about subconscious and conscious. We kidded around about that through all of our little curveballs and shows and all of that. We've really talked about a lot of the subjects within the path to oneness. We talked about Lucifer. We talked about subconscious, conscious. We've talked about ascension. And I want Tim to get back when I allow him to talk. To get back to the ascension program and the prayer where you were going to go. I just wanted to try to do some examples that people might be able to relate to more on. Okay, that's what they're talking about if they have no conception of what we are talking about.
Well, Bill,
continue.
Bill, the Ascension Master Program is free on the website. They can download it free, and it's a 28-day program, and it's a very simple program to do, to get the soul to be conscious of their thoughts and feelings and clean their light body, and to protect them from any negative energies, and to basically give them the groundwork to take control of their spiritual path. And that's the purpose of the Ascension Master Program. And it's free. Like I said, it's free on the website.
The other part, and I'll play into that, I know because I'm a member, and it was great that Tim was so great to actually allow me to do that. So, again, I segued in, I think after the second lunar cycle of February, maybe the first one, but I've been at it pretty good for a couple of lunar cycles. We'll have Tim expand upon the lunar cycle for those that might not know what the whole thing's based on and what he's doing twice a month around that in a moment. But I've done the Ascension program. I'm continuing to do it. What I've done, and my point is, there's 150 of these MP3s that at face value, they're at least $3 a piece at a fair value. That's $150 right there, savings. And I forget, Tim, is it $99 even for the membership?
Well,
or $97, $95?
Yeah, it's Bill. Why the master program? Why the membership program? Is that the things we were putting out on YouTube, channeling from the teach. Anything I put out is channeled by the Golden Ones. And the things that were being put up on YouTube were starting to be critiqued and not allowing the YouTubes to be played. And so to get around it, we did the membership program. Now, when we did the membership program, and like you said, I've done probably 150 to 200 MP3s. The membership program, more information came in when I started to channel the membership program. And we call the membership program Training with Tim and the Golden Ones. That is what the Golden Ones wanted to be, because they want the soul to get this detailed information about creation and where the soul has been before they came to Earth, and why they have to come to Earth, and what happened, where they were in the other star systems in the Milky Way galaxy, and what were they learning there. And so there's a lot of information, teachings from the Golden Ones that are now into the membership program that haven't been taught for over 10,000 years on this planet. And it's like when our Milky Way galaxy goes through the universe, and it goes through different phases of dimensions, from the third dimension to the fifth dimension and so forth. So when it goes into these lower dimensions, the Golden Ones cannot stay on the Earth. And the last time they were on the Earth was over 10,000 years ago, and they were teaching on the island of Lemura, and the Lemura sank, and all the teaching sank. And what took over the planet then were third dimension ego training stage souls who are still on the planet now in charge. And so what's happening now is on 2012, 21 December 2012, Earth came back into a fifth dimension vibratory frequency. And it's that time the golden ones came and started training me. The one appeared to me in 1983. I mean, I see him as clearly as you, Bill. And then a group of them came back in October 2012. But I've been getting visitations from other beings too, in my astral travels or out-of-body experiences, or in my meditations. Entities will come to me and teach me things. So I need to experience things so that I can then be told how to share it with someone else, to other souls, so they do not have to go reinvent the wheel. That they can say, this will help me, this will help me, and so forth. So I go through many of these experiences. Like I said, 3 years ago, I did the Ascension Master Program. And at that time, I wasn't aware of releasing negative cellular energies, which I have been taught recently in the past 9 months, which I'm working with that energy now and attempting to get it out. So I did it out on one YouTube. We'll see how it's going to go again. But it's not the souls. There's a lot of souls out there, Bill, that are just, I don't know. They're wakening up, but they're
They're kind of stuck, in my humble opinion. I equate it to a car, manual shift, if you will. They're kind of stuck in neutral between, you pick the gear, third to fourth or whatever. And they're almost, when you're learning to drive a stick. Back in the old days, now it's different. The old days when you had to fight the shift and the clutch. I use that analogy that a lot of us, I think, are kind of stuck in that neutral gear, and we're kind of grinding the gear to get into third. Your point is we're there. We're kind of there, and, it's better than first gear, and we understand, like, hey, we got to shift. We do have to shift. But we're kind of stuck in between the gear shift, if I'm making any sense at all.
That makes sense, Bill.
We are grinding the gear while we're shifting. So I guess in and of itself, lots of us have the right idea. We're just not shifting the gear properly yet.
Yes. One more point. My teachers want to make one more point right now.
Please, Tim, please.
Is fears. Fears stop a soul from evolving. And what the globalists will do is project fears into the masses, the coronavirus, nuclear war, extraterrestrials. They'll come up with almost bird flu, a shortage of food and so forth, all to put fears into your mind. The economy is not good. And what the soul has to do is just accept it, that this is what's going on, and don't allow it to affect their manifestations. Stay positive, know that things will change, and that don't allow the fear to permeate and stop you from thinking about your desires and dreams and planning on it and so forth.
Absolutely. We talk a lot about at all my shows. I'm a fervent believer that this precipice right now, and it is a precipice, no doubt. Stay with me, everybody. But it's such a beautiful precipice for the earth, hopefully, for we as inhabitants of it. And I do think we are going to come on a really good backside of this. Having said that, there's some old Bette Davis movie that I forget when she said it's going to be a bumpy ride. I do think it's going to be a bumpy ride. For all the aforementioned reasons that we have said, to my earlier point early in this interview, we've been conditioned that they know what buttons to push in that fear factor that they most assuredly are pushing, to your earlier points. My missile's bigger than yours and all that crazy stuff. That's what we try to avoid because it's so counterintuitive to good health just in and of itself. Just in and of itself to get in that quandary of that vortex to, oh my God, we like to call it monkey minds at one of our structured guided meditation events because they are. When you're in that vortex, it's a monkey mind. So with however much time you want to go, I want to make sure we get all of the God's points, the golden ones, in on this. And I'm so appreciative of that because we talked about that. Tim and I we're laughing about it, and Tim and I are good and all of that. But we're both striking our heads and scratching our heads a little bit. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's been interesting to have us get together for all of these worldly interference reasons, in my humble opinion, case in point, with all this foolishness that's going on. So, Tim, I kind of took away from your thunder. I want you to segue out, however long or short, but please do re-enunciate everything that the gods and the golden ones told you last night, but that have been telling you to reinforce the program. And then I'd like to close out on loving the program. And Tim, no, I wouldn't say that, with all due respect, if I didn't believe it. And I would never insult Tim if I didn't believe it. But
Well, Bill, I tell you what.
I'm going to speak for the program at the end. Go, Tim.
Yeah, let me reiterate and explain the membership program. We set it up so that our videos were not being critiqued or blocked or anything like that, because there's a lot of teachings that they said it goes against the scientific community or the philosophy community and so forth. So we're free to channel directly the information from the golden ones. And so we put a teaching out on the new moon and the full moon twice a month. So for the membership program, you'll get 24 teachings. You get access to if you want to call me and have a conversation with me, you get access to that. But then there's over 150 MP3s out there that you can download. Now, you can download these teachings too. They're a video, but yet they come with an MP3, and you can download the MP3 so that you can listen to these MP3s while you're jogging, sleeping, driving, walking, and so forth, to assist you in staying on your spiritual path and keep your consciousness in a consciousness of compassion and love towards our brothers and sisters in this universe. Now, everybody in this spiritual training school on earth, we all came here. We're all co-creator gods, and we're all brothers and sisters. So just because someone acts unloving towards us, you just have to brush the dust from your feet and keep walking. But yeah, the membership program, that's at $99 a year, and the MP3s and everything else, and so forth. So, and the teachings.
Please don't forget the astrological and numerology charts. Tim did one for myself. Those of you that join the show, I've been dissecting that down and referencing it and talking about my numbers and signs and the time of day I was born and all of that within my own. The astrological and numerology reports are astounding. You want to reference the one that you've used forever and ever, how good that is? Because I think that should be mentioned too, Tim.
Well, the astrology numerology reports, Bill, I used to make them free on the website. And then I would get people just, I would be doing the work. It takes me about an hour to do it. They're computerized programs, and I would do it free. And then I was getting people asking for it that weren't for the membership. They were just looking for something. So I says, all right, I've got to put a small fee on it. So I put a small fee on
Well,
it
you
of
have to.
$13.
Tim,
Uh,
a small fee is a tremendous bargain. That's all. A lot of time, effort, work, and they're very in-depth folks. Tim, please
the reports,
continue.
the astrology and numerology reports, the astrology report is probably about 30 to 40 pages.
Yep,
Numerology report,
yep.
about 30 to 40 pages. Quite detailed. I've been using these reports for, oh my God, for 40 years. They're the best reports I've Bill, when I do my work, the Golden Ones always give me the best tools to share. In creating things, I have the best webmaster who takes care of the website,
You do. You
and
do.
I get the best
I know
tools.
Sid in business. Sid's great. His webmaster. Continue.
I get the best tools to create videos, to create audios, and so forth. I do all my audios and videos and editing and so forth myself. I do all the astrology, numerology reports for myself. I'll talk to anybody all over the world to assist them
And you
in their
have.
situations and
You
so
have.
forth.
I mean, it's well documented. It's a fascinating career. Everybody, really seriously, if you haven't checked out the archival shows, because we have covered, it's a fascinating life. It's a fascinating career. It's a fascinating subject. It's a fascinating getting in touch with the co-creators, what it's all about, what we're all about, the program, all of it. And Tim, what are we going to talk about the next time when you come by? Tim usually will come in between those two lunar cycles with the time change, his own personal schedule and life and all of that. We usually squeeze a visit in between the two lunar cycles or somewhere's in that regard. So moving forward, as May right around the corner now becomes, we'll have Tim back and so on and so forth as the calendar year feathers out. And I have every intention for as long as he can put up with me to do it forever and ever. So, any closing thoughts? Anything you
Now,
feel as though
I
we
think,
didn't squeeze
Bill,
into
I
this?
think we said enough, and it's almost been like 40 minutes, so I don't like
And
to
I
have them
know we
too long.
talked about that, so
Yeah.
let's do say bye bye for now. Check out the path to oneness, everyone. Make it a safe and productive day. We'll say bye bye for now, and may God bless. Peace. I'll see you all again, same time, same station tomorrow. Have a great day,
Namaste.
everybody. Thanks for joining us. Continue to join us. Namaste.
Namaste.
Radio.